the good life.
Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Another big exciting day in my kitchen. I'm thinking today we do something traditional with fish that you're gonna get in Italy, right? In the Boreal cuisine. It's delicious and it's fun and it's really one of those authentic flavors of Italy, you know, and you're gonna be near the sea or maybe in one of those streets down in Rome or Venice, and somebody brings out a glass of Prosecco and you order this little dish of fish meatballs, polpette di pesce, or meatballs of fish. We've got a couple of ingredients here. I don't want you to be intimidated by it. One of them, and the main ingredient, is going to be your fish. Now, you could use really any kind of fish you want for this recipe. So you can use a salmon, you can use a halibut, you can use a swordfish. Traditionally, certainly in the Boreal family, we're going to use a cod, like a haddock, and we're going to use a baccala. Now, baccala in our family meant two things. One, a salted fish, cod, and two, a slap. It was a threat. You're going to get a baccala, which is slang for like a flat fish. You're going to get a slap across the face if you don't start listening, okay? But today, no slaps in the kitchen. Today, at least on camera anyways. Now, you can buy this at most large grocery stores. Certainly any store that's carrying a lot of like Mediterranean type foods. And basically, it's a salted fish. When you get the baccala, when you get that salted cod, you have to what they call reconstitute the fish. You have to add the moisture and wash off that salt and re-add that moisture so the fish is usable. So that's what I did here. So I've got here about 2 pounds of baccala. Hey, how you doing? What I did is I soaked it in water, left it in the refrigerator. I soaked it in water for several days, and I just changed the water 2 or 3 times. What that does is that brings that fish, now it's hydrated. Now it's gonna kind of fall apart, but it's rehydrated. So guys, don't panic. If you can't get a baccala, if you can't get a salted fish, honestly, I mean, traditionally this would be great, but if you can't, just get any fish you want and semi-cook it. You know, put it on a pan with some water, don't fry it, water, and steam it, and cook it about, like 50% of the way. And what that'll do is that'll pull out the moisture from the fish. It'll start to bake it so that it falls apart, and you can use that in this recipe as well. Number 2, we're gonna add some breadcrumbs. So I've got 2 cups here of non-flavored breadcrumbs. I've got olives here. Now I've got about 1.5 cups of olives. Olives, again, you can use anything you want. I got the Kalamata olives here. You can use the black olives. Doesn't matter. We're gonna add some parsley. Now you guys can add like an oregano. You can add parsley. You can add some other kinds of herbs if you want. In this case, I love parsley. I've got essentially here about 1 cup of flat Italian parsley. I haven't chopped it up yet. And parsley is, I always call it one of those underrated herbs because it's citrus and it's grassy and it's got a pepper flavor to it. So it's a phenomenal herb to add to any dish, essentially, not just to decorate, right? Now, traditionally, I'd use about 3, maybe 4 cloves of garlic here. Oh, I love garlic. But in this case, some of these babies are small. So I'd say 3 to 4 cloves of garlic is going to be really important. Here I've got 1/3 cup of capers, and a trick that we would always do in the Boreal family. Again, I never want to add water, if I can avoid it, to something because water dilutes. So we would always add milk to anything like an anchovy or a caper, and that way it would leach out any of that high salt content. And then we're just going to rinse it off. I've got 3 whole eggs. Now what we've got here is about 1/4 cup of hazelnuts. Oh, Nutella, mean anything to you guys? I mean, they go good with chocolate. They're gonna go great with this. It's kind of neat, but it's traditional to add some kind of nuts to this type of dish. You'll see nuts commonly used in combination with fish. So in this case, like I said, I got 1/4 cup. These are raw hazelnuts. We're gonna roast them. I'll show you how to do that. That's quick, fun, and fast. Here I've got tomatoes. Now what I wanted was San Marzano tomatoes from Italy. Campania makes the best tomatoes, okay? So I couldn't bring those and ship them over here, so I had to get a can of San Marzano tomatoes. So here I've got 28 ounces, 28-ounce can of San Marzano tomatoes. They're peeled, okay? And we're gonna crush those up to make our sauce. Obviously, we're gonna have some salt here today. I went with gray sea salt, so I felt a French today. Here we've got some fresh ground pepper. That's gonna be great. And for you guys watching us, maybe for the first time, I own a farm in Italy. We co-op with a group of farms to bring in what I consider some of the best Italian extra virgin olive oil you'll ever have in your life. Italian trees, Italian olives. It's crushed. It's shipped right here to the United States. My two boys, my two sons, Vito and Joe, I named the company after them. If you go right on our Facebook page, Buy It Now, or you click the link below this page, or you go right to my website, Cooking Italian with Joe, you can order yourself a bottle. We literally will drop ship it right to your front door. I call it a trip to Italy in a bottle, and it's a great addition to any kitchen. So first thing I want to do here is I want to warm up my pan because I want to warm up my hazelnuts. So if you have raw hazelnuts, we're going to roast it. It's going to bring out all this beautiful flavor. I'm going to use this pan essentially to do the whole dish, okay? And why that's important is you'll notice I got a larger pan with a high edge on it, because what we're going to do is after we make those balls, we're going to make a little bit of the sauce. And it's just a lot easier and faster, and it makes a lot less of a mess if I have a bigger pan, okay? So I'm turning on my heat about medium, and I'm just gonna throw my hazelnuts in the pan. And I'm just gonna let it get warm, let those go just for a few minutes. All right, while the hazelnuts are roasting, I'm gonna drain this water out of the fish and start breaking it apart. And now I'm gonna take my fish, my baccala, I love saying that word. Next, I'm gonna take my 2 cups of breadcrumbs. Next, I want to take my olives, but I want to cut the olives up. So just cut them in half. All right, now my olives are set. I'm going to hold back just a little bit for our sauce, maybe a third of what I had done. Now I'm going to take my parsley, same idea. I'm going to take that flat parsley, that beautiful herb, and I'm going to rough cut it up. Same thing with our parsley. We're going to put in and hold back just a bit to finish off our plate. Next, I'm going to strain those capers. Same idea. I'm going to hold back just a little bit for our sauce. Did you guys think I forgot about our hazelnuts? Oh, there they go. So the hazelnuts, we're going to put all of them in there. I'm just going to get in there and cut them up. They're just a little bit warm. Oh, they're really high and fatty and those great oils. So our hazelnuts are beautiful. We're gonna pop those all in, every last one of them. Now we're gonna crunch in some fresh ground pepper, you know, probably half a teaspoon, and just a little bit of salt, just because we've got a lot of salt going on in there. All right, guys, gotta plug that olive oil, throw some Vito and Joe's olive oil in there. So we're gonna splash a good 3 to 4 tablespoons in there. And to finish up our meatballs, we're gonna add some eggs in here, okay? So we're gonna go 3 eggs. And before I start using my hands in there, I'm gonna start mixing this with a wooden spoon. So I'm gonna use the end of this, see how it's a little sharper, right? And I'm just gonna keep breaking that up, the fish and everything. After you've mixed it, let it set 15 minutes, not even. You want the bread to hydrate. You want it to absorb that moisture, and that's gonna allow everything to bond together, you know what I mean? You wanna be able to make a ball. If you can't, you can always add a little bit more olive oil, or you can add another egg if you need to. See, that makes a beautiful ball right there. All right, I've got my pan going. You're gonna wanna put about 1/4 of an inch of olive oil, Vito and Joe's, right to the bottom. There you go. Oh, look at that, I finished it off. Oh, it smells good. Okay, we're gonna fry that, and then we're gonna keep that oil. I'll show you how that looks. Second tip, like I said, I've let this set a good 15 minutes, and I wanna make the ball and put it right in there. Sometimes you'll find if you make them ahead of time, sometimes they start to fall apart. Ice cream scoop, also my meatball maker, right? Why? I like everything uniform in size. That way it's a lot easier to cook, so that when one thing's done, everything's done. I also find that because I can pack them in here a little bit, they're less likely to fall apart. A couple other things really quick that make these come out phenomenal is if you subscribe to our channel. So there's a red button right down here in the corner, and when you click that, what it does is any new trips, any new recipes, anything I got going on with Cooking Italian with Joe, it'll come right to your notification box. And I'll tell you, that means a lot to me if you subscribe to our channel, and hey, it makes you part of the family, you know what I'm saying? Secondly, if you haven't already, you probably already have, you gotta click on that link and get yourself a bottle of Vito and Joe's olive oil. Drop ship it to your house. Mwah! Absolutely delicious. All right, so what do you say we get making some meatballs here? So I'm gonna take a scoop right there, my meatball. So just get it just a little bit over level. Then I'm gonna pack it right in there. Perfect, right? And I'm gonna set that right in my hot oil. And I'm gonna start making some meatballs. All right, it's been a couple of minutes here, and I'm just gonna turn that over. Oh, look at that. You see that right there? Look at how perfect that is. It's got that beautiful little crust to it. And you want them just like that. Traditionally, they're served with a crunch to it, a crust. And you're gonna lose a little bit in there. Don't get nervous. You're gonna have a few pieces that fall off. Okay, it's been a couple of minutes, and what I wanna do is I wanna get all of that crust around the meatball. So use the other meatball to hold up that side if you need to. It's been about 5 to 8 minutes. You see how beautiful that is? So it's crisp all the way around. So I'm just gonna grab a plate, and I'm just gonna pull out any of my finished meatballs. If you got a couple in there that need a little bit longer, no problem. How good do those look? All right, so these are done. I'm gonna set them right here because I'm gonna put them back in our sauce. I'm going to turn the heat off on the pan. I want that to come way down on temp. But I want to keep the oil and I want to keep all that flavor that we got from the fish. All right, time to prep our ingredients for the sauce. So I've got my tomatoes, I've got my olives, I've got my capers, I got my parsley, salt, pepper, Vito and Joe's olive oil, which you guys probably already got some while you were subscribing. And now I'm going to get my garlic ready. So I'm just going to open that up. You know, on garlic, you know, you're just going to smash that puppy and peel it. Once in a while I talk to somebody and they're like, you know, my family, my friends, somebody doesn't like garlic. You know, my attitude is this. If you're hanging out with somebody that don't like garlic, find a new friend. Cut them loose, scrape them off, get rid of them. Last in the garlic, you just want to cut it up really thin. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's good. All right, meet you guys over the stove. Let's start making some sauce. I want to bring that pan up to some temp. Just a bit. I'm going to take my garlic and get that in that hot oil. You got the olives. You know, I just give it a little smush. Just some of the olives that came off. And just heat that up until the garlic kind of sautés down, starts to sweat a little bit. Gets tender. Now, we don't want to add anything until our garlic's where we want it. And you'll see it here. It'll start to get, it's almost there. It'll start to get really tender when you push on it. Okay, our garlic is just starting to get tender. I'm going to put in my olives. Next, I'm going to put in my capers. Remember those capers we held back? And that's going to help, that moisture is going to help deglaze the pan. Last, I've got my San Marzano tomatoes. And the key here is just take the back of your spatula and just break up your tomatoes. Now I'm going to cook this down about 10 to 15 minutes. What you'll see, everything will blend very nicely when everything comes up to temp and starts to cook and break down. Okay guys, it's been about 15 minutes. You see how the tomatoes get really just kind of stringy and soft, whatever's left. And you see how the oil's no longer separated? See how it's all just one sauce now? And that's when you're ready to go. You want a little bit of that rustic feel in there. Okay, and then really gently reintroduce the fish balls, okay? And you gotta be careful because you don't want them to fall apart. And you wanna heat these guys back up. At this point, I'm gonna add a little pepper. So now I'm gonna turn the heat down and just let that heat disperse itself amongst the meatballs and the sauce, because we're not looking to cook the meatballs, we're just looking to heat them up a little bit. So now I'm just gonna take that pan and finish off the sauce. And with what we got left over in our parsley, we're just gonna hit it with a last sprinkle, and oh, how good does that look? Okay guys, my favorite part. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab one of these. You know I'm gonna have more than that. And then I'm just, you know, when you serve it, just make sure you get some of that extra sauce there. Oh, that is, I mean, the sauce is gonna be to die for, because it's got that beautiful flavor of fish. Oh, I'll tell you, the smell, immediately you get the olive oil, you can smell the olives, the garlic, the tomato. Oh, that is good. And then you just get that fish. So we're just gonna crush that puppy. Look at that beautiful center, and then just gorgeous. Immediately you get that tomato, the olive, the fish starts coming in, a little bit of garlic, and I love it. You notice we didn't add any salt to that sauce. It's perfect because you got a little bit of salt from the fish, you got a little bit of salt from that caper, which is just perfect. And the breadcrumbs are there to just give you that body and that softness, so you're not just having a solid piece of fish. And it just creates a beautiful texture with the crunch on the outside. I'll tell you, one of my favorite parts I just got a little bite of is the hazelnut. You're chewing that down right near the end. Right before you swallow it, you get that, just that beautiful hint of hazelnut, the texture, the crunch, the flavor. It goes so great with the fish and the sauce. I'll tell you guys, next to our world's greatest meatball recipe, I'm thinking this is a close second, no doubt about it. Man, that is delicious. Guys, thanks again so much for joining me in my kitchen. Remember, shut off the electronics, the cell phone, the TV, the computer. You know, get around the table with your family, make a mess. You know, celebrate your heritage and set some new traditions that'll last you a lifetime. I know they did for me, guys. Remember, click that red button right there. Subscribe, make you part of the family. Jump online, grab yourself a bottle of Vito and Joe's extra virgin Italian olive oil. We'll drop ship it right to your house. Absolutely a trip to Italy right in a bottle. And guys, from my kitchen to yours, until next week, bon appetito.
Good life, full of fun, seems to be